So we're getting to spend a little bit of time with Mayor Jennifer Talley. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here on the Maverick. So I'm going to ask you something, and then we'll kind of wrap up. I'll give you kind of a opportunity to do, as we do on the morning show, final thoughts for this particular interview. But I, as you know, ran for political office, and it just absolutely was not for me. Okay. I mean, that is not for the faint of heart. And I think about how awesome your kids are. I think about you and your husband. You guys got multiple businesses and, have preserved that historic feel of a bunch of buildings downtown Graham. How do you do it, and why do you do it? Because, I mean, it ain't like you're not busy enough with everything else you got going on,
Well, 20 years ago, I was on the city council, and I stepped away to raise my family, and I have absolutely no regrets about that whatsoever. And when people ask me about my accomplishments, I'm absolutely, my first thought is the two wonderful humans that I created, and with my husband, and we are people of faith, and we certainly have raised our children in a community that we want to be proud of, and we want to have them stay here. And lucky for us, they have full intentions of being here.
So they're going to stay in Graham.
That's what awesome. I am hearing from them, and wow. We very much want that to happen. And we love Graham so much. We love the historic properties. That's really what we've kind of dedicated our life to, is renovating a lot of these old buildings that banks and other contractors and engineers all tell us that we need to tear down, and it would be so much more cost effective and time sensitive to be able to take these buildings down and just build something new. But we love these old buildings. We think it's character. It is the heartbeat of Graham, and we've really dedicated a lot of time and energy to trying to preserve these old historic buildings. We always want them to be here for the future, not just our children, but everybody's children, for everybody to enjoy. And when people come to Graham, they say, wow, they feel like they've come into something that is really special. And they feel like they've arrived somewhere and that they've found some place that is really genuine and unique. And I love that about Graham. You guys,
the where Over Yonder is, I mean, that building was basically condemned, wasn't it?
Yeah, it had been through a fire and needed a whole lot of work. And like I said, engineers said, what are you doing? This is, I think we just in the materials, $25,000 in just metal to secure the building back. But I can tell you, if a hurricane comes through, that building's standing. That's the safest place to be. But we just love these old buildings. We think they have character, and we want them to always be here. When my husband and I pass away, we want them to be something that is much like the 9/11 memorial, something that we've done here for our community, and said we didn't want it to be torn down and didn't want it to be demolished. Just a few years ago, they were going to demolish the entire southeast corner of Court Square to build a bank, which ironically enough is not in business anymore. And I just think back how tragic that was when Sarah Ryan, who was the previous mayor's wife, we sat on the historic commission, and I was in my 20s. So it's been a long journey, but we went to the local schools and got them to do color drawings of downtown Graham and how much they loved Graham, and we went and talked to the bank president and said, please don't do this. And they ended up not only not tearing down that space, and a local contractor renovated it, but they also bought and renovated one of the sister homes on Main Street, which is now Bank of America, and which will soon be our new Visitors Bureau there in Graham. And we're very excited to have that in Graham and to hopefully drive a lot of that interstate business that passes us by off the interstate to visit our beautiful little downtown. So, I have been working for a long time alongside my husband and now my children to really try to preserve the historic nature of our beautiful downtown. And we hope it's here for another 100 years, long after we're gone. And, I see what happens in other little communities. Some people only have one little strip.
Yeah.
Elon had one little strip,
Mm-hmm.
and those developers just couldn't leave it alone.
Yep.
They just had to go in there and tear it down. And nothing wrong with a Barnes and Noble, but
right.
I
The
remember
architecture is.
I remember
gone.
Brown and Company. You remember Brown and Company?
Yeah.
And I was an Elon student, and I just remember, I think these buildings have so much character, and there's so many stories that we hear from people, and they do tell a story, and they are representative of a life of stories there in Graham, and I love to talk to people about them and really, really treasure what we have. When you go to places like Williamsburg and even places on a national level, you've traveled to other countries, the places people seem to want to go are these old historic downtowns and really get pictures and photos and say that they've been there. And we hope Graham continues to thrive in the way that we envision and really becomes a destination for North Carolina residents and people traveling through North Carolina. So.
Yeah.